thunder cracked over Aguma village like the sky was breaking in two. Midnight had come, and with it the end of a marriage everyone once admired. Income stormed out of his compound, his wrapper loose, his face twisted with anger and pain. Behind him, inside the house, Adana smashed the calabash against the mud floor. The sound echoed through the quiet night like a scream no one could ignore. "I want nothing more to do with you," she shouted into the darkness, though Inkem was already gone. Across the narrow dirt road, hidden beneath the shadow of a tall mango tree, stood Mama Oloji. The old widow watched everything. Her eyes, ancient and knowing, followed Inkem's heavy footsteps. Then they turned toward Adana's trembling silhouette in the doorway. Mama Oloji's lips barely moved, but the words she whispered carried weight like stones thrown into deep water. "It is happening again." Her fingers tightened around the wooden staff she always carried. She had seen this before. She had lived this before. And tonight, whether they knew it or not, the past had returned to collect what it was owed. The next morning, before the sun fully rose, Mama Oloji crossed the road. She knocked on Inkem's door first. He opened it with red eyes, the kind that come from a sleepless night spent wrestling with shame and anger. "Mama Oloji," he said quietly, surprised to see her so early. She did not smile. "If the sun rises with your heart still poisoned, Inkem, something older than your marriage will awaken. You do not want that." He frowned. "What are you talking about?" But she had already turned away, heading toward Adana's side of the compound. Adana was sweeping the courtyard, her movements sharp and bitter. When Mama Oloji appeared, she paused. "You should not let pride seal your mouth, my daughter," Mama Oloji said softly. "Words left unsaid become curses." Adana's jaw tightened. "How would you know what I feel?" Mama Oloji tilted her head, studying her. "I know more than you think. I know the lie you were told. I know the fear you carry. And I know what happens when silence grows roots." Adana's breath caught. How could this old woman know? Mama Oloji turned and walked away, leaving only the faint scent of burned herbs behind her. Once, not so long ago, Inkem and Adana were the pride of Oguma. Their wedding had been a celebration the whole village attended. Drummers played from dawn until dusk. Women danced in circles, praising the union of two families bound by respect and love. Inkem was a craftsman known for his skill with wood and metal. His hands could turn rough timber into beautiful furniture, and his reputation stretched beyond Oguma into neighboring villages. Adana was a trader, sharp in business, respected in the marketplace. Together they seemed blessed. Their compound was always filled with laughter. Inkem carved toys for the children who visited. Adana cooked meals that drew neighbors to their door. They prayed together, worked together, dreamed together. But even on their wedding day, something had been watching. Mama Oloji stood at the edge of the crowd, her face hidden beneath the dark headscarf. While others clapped and cheered, her eyes glistened with tears. Not tears of joy, but something deeper, something that looked like regret. No one noticed. No one asked why the old widow wept while a new marriage began. But she knew. She had always known. The first crack appeared slowly, like a tiny line spreading across dry clay. Inkem's business began to falter. Orders slowed, customers delayed payments. The rainy season damaged materials he had stored outside, and replacing them cost money he did not have. He said nothing to Adana. Every morning he left the house as though going to work. Some days he sat alone in his workshop, staring at unfinished chairs and tables. Other days he walked the long road to neighboring villages, begging for work he could not find. At night, when Adana asked how the day went, he smiled and said, "Fine." But his smile grew thinner, his shoulders grew heavier, and the weight of the lie pressed down on his chest like stones. Pride told him, "A man does not admit failure." Shame whispered, "She will think less of you." Fear warned she will leave if she knows the truth. So he stayed silent. And silence, once planted, begins to grow roots. One afternoon, a woman in the marketplace leaned close to Adana and whispered, "Your husband is keeping secrets from you. Be careful." Adana's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" But the woman only smiled and walked away. The whisper did not stop. Days later, another voice found Adana. This time, it was an older trader who sold yams near her stall. "I saw your husband in the next village," the woman said casually, arranging her goods. "He was with someone, a woman. They seemed close." Adana's hands froze over the tomatoes she was sorting. "What are you saying?" The woman shrugged. "I am only telling you what I saw. Maybe it is nothing. Oh, maybe it is something you should know." That night, Adana could not eat. She watched Nkem across the room as he sat quietly carving a piece of wood. His face was distant, his mind somewhere else. Was he thinking of another woman? Was that why he no longer looked at her the way he used to? Jealousy is a seed that grows quickly in the soil of fear, and Adana's heart, already troubled by his silence, was fertile ground. She wanted to ask him. She wanted to scream, but pride held her tongue. "If he is hiding something, then I will not beg him to tell me." So she, too, stayed silent, and the distance between them grew wider. Weeks passed. The house that once echoed with laughter now sat heavy with quiet. Nkem and Adana moved like ghosts around each other. Greetings became short. Meals were eaten in silence. At night, they lay on opposite sides of the mat, backs turned, hearts closed. Nkem wanted to speak. Every day he rehearsed the words in his mind. "Adana, I am struggling. I need help. I am afraid." But each time he opened his mouth, shame choked the words back down. Adana wanted to ask. Every night she imagined demanding the truth. "Who is she? Why do you not love me anymore?" But each time she almost spoke, pride sealed her lips. And so, they drowned together in silence. Across the road, Mama Okaji watched. She had seen this before. She knew how it ended. One evening, as the sun set, she lit a bundle of strange herbs in a clay pot outside her door. The smoke rose thick and gray, curling toward the sky. She muttered words no one else could hear, words in a language older than the village itself. Her eyes never left their compound. Strange things began to happen. Nkem woke one night to see shadows moving across the wall, though no one was there. The shapes twisted and stretched, forming figures that looked almost human. He sat up, heart pounding. "Adana, do you see that?" But she was asleep, or pretending to be. The shadows faded, but the fear remained. Adana too began hearing things. Whispers in the courtyard when no one was around. Her name, spoken softly, carried on the wind. "Adana, Adana." She searched the compound but found nothing. Only the faint smell of burning herbs drifting from Mama Okaji's house. One morning, she confronted the old woman. "What are you doing? Why do you burn those things?" Mama Okaji looked at her with calm, steady eyes. "Your home is waking the spirits of pride, my daughter. When hearts refuse to speak truth, the silence calls to dogger things." Adana stepped back. "You speak nonsense." Mama Okaji tilted her head. "Do I? Then why do you hear your name at night? Why does your husband see shadows? The spirits are watching. They are waiting to see if you will break the curse or become it." That night, something inside Nkem finally broke. He could not carry the weight anymore. He sat Adana down and tried to speak. Adana, I need to tell you something. I have been... But before he could finish, Adana's anger erupted. You have been what, Inkem? Lying to me? Seeing another woman? His face twisted in confusion. What? What are you talking about? Do not pretend. I know you go to the next village. I know you hide things from me. Everyone knows. Adana, do not lie to me anymore. Her voice cracked, tears streaming down her face. If you don't want me, just say it. And Kem stood, his own anger rising. You do not even know what you are accusing me of. You listen to gossip more than you listen to me. Their words collided like thunder. Accusations flew. Pain was thrown like stones. Neither heard the other. Neither understood. Outside, hidden in the shadows, Mama Okaji stood with tears running down her wrinkled cheeks. She had heard every word, and she knew, better than anyone, how this story could end. The flashback ended. The memory faded. Now, months later, the couple stood at the edge of complete separation. Their belongings were being divided, and Kem packed his tools into a wooden box. Adana folded her wrappers and placed them in a basket. Neither looked at the other. On the table between them lay a single piece of paper, a divorce agreement, written by the village scribe. All it needed was their marks. Nkem reached for it first. His hand hovered over the ink. Adana stood across from him, her face hard, her eyes red. "This is what you want?" he asked quietly. She did not answer, but she did not stop him either. As his fingers touched the paper, a strange wind swept through the compound. It came from nowhere, cold and sharp, extinguishing the oil lamp on the table. The flame died, and darkness filled the room. Both froze. The wind circled them, pulling at their clothes, whispering words they could not understand. Then, just as suddenly as it came, it stopped. In the silence that followed, they heard footsteps. Mama Oji appeared in the doorway. "Put that paper down," Mama Oji said, her voice firm but not unkind. Nkem looked at her, confused. "Mama, this is not your concern." "It is more my concern than you know." She stepped inside, holding a small object wrapped in old cloth. Slowly, she unwrapped it, revealing a mirror. Not a modern one, but ancient, its surface cloudy and dull, the frame carved with symbols no one recognized. "Before you destroy what you have," Mama Oji said, "look into this. Let it show you the truth." Adana scoffed. "What truth can a mirror show?" "Not your face, your heart." She placed the mirror on the table between them. "Each of you look. See what the other has hidden." Nkem hesitated, then leaned forward. The surface of the mirror shimmered, and instead of his own reflection, he saw something else. A memory, a vision, a truth. He gasped. Adana leaned in next, and her eyes widened. What they saw was not what they expected, and nothing would ever be the same. Adana stared into the mirror, her breath shallow. The surface rippled like water, and then she saw him, Nkem, but not as he was now. She saw him months ago, bent over his workbench late at night, tears streaming down his face. She saw him counting coins that were not enough. She saw him walking long roads, begging for work, his pride crumbling with every rejection. She saw him sitting alone in the dark, whispering to himself, "I cannot let her see me like this. I cannot let her know I am failing." Her heart clenched. This was the secret he had been keeping. Not another woman, not betrayal, just shame, just fear. But then the vision shifted.
Behind Inkem, in the shadows of the marketplace, a figure moved. Someone whispering into the ears of traders, someone spreading lies, someone planting seeds of doubt. Adana leaned closer, trying to see the face. The figure turned, and there on the wrist of the liar was a bracelet Adana recognized. She had seen it before, hanging on the wall of Mama Oji's house. Her head snapped up, eyes wide, staring at the old woman. Nkem's turn came next. He looked into the mirror, and the surface showed him Adana. Not the angry woman standing before him now, but the woman she had been, the woman she still is beneath the hurt. He saw her in the marketplace, hearing whispers. He saw the doubt creeping into her heart. He saw her lying awake at night, wondering if he still loved her, wondering if she had done something wrong. He saw her fear, her loneliness, her pain. And then he saw the source. A woman in the market, leaning close, whispering poison. "Your husband is with someone else. Be careful." The woman turned, and Nkem saw her wrist. The same bracelet, the same one Mama Oji wore. He looked up sharply, his eyes locking with Adana's. They had both seen it. They both knew. "What is this?" Nkem demanded, turning to Mama Oji. "What have you done?" Mama Oji's face was unreadable. "I have shown you the truth, but the truth is not simple." "You spread the lies?" Adana's voice shook. "You destroyed us?" Mama Oji closed her eyes. "Not destroyed, tested. I had to know if you would survive what I could not." "What are you talking about?" Nkem shouted. But before she could answer, Mama Oji clutched her chest and collapsed.
They rushed to her side, anger forgotten for a moment. Mama Oji gasped for air, her face pale, her body trembling. "Mama, what is wrong?" Adana asked, fear replacing rage. Mama Oji's hand gripped Inkem's arm weakly. "The past has returned. I thought I could stop it. I thought I could save you from repeating it. But the spirits, they do not forgive easily." "What past?" Inkem demanded. "What spirits?" Mama Oji's eyes fluttered. "Your marriage, it is not the first. There was another. One I destroyed, and because of that, I have been cursed to watch it happen again and again." Adana knelt beside her. "You are making no sense." "I am making perfect sense," Mama Oji whispered. "You just do not know the story yet." Outside, the wind began to rise. It was not a natural wind. It moved too deliberately, too purposefully. The trees bent, but not all in the same direction. The air grew cold, though the night had been warm. Something was coming. Inkem and Adana felt it, a presence, a weight pressing down on the compound. Mama Oji whispered, "They are here." The wind howled through the compound, shaking the wooden shutters and tearing leaves from the mango tree. Objects inside the house began to move. Pots rattled. The mirror on the table spun slowly, as though turned by invisible hands. Inkem grabbed Donna's arm. "What is happening?" Mama Oji pulled herself up, leaning heavily on her staff. Her voice, though weak, carried authority. "The spirits I warned you about, they are angry. They have been waiting for this moment." "Waiting for what?" Adana shouted over the wind. "For you to choose, to break the cycle or repeat it." The door to the compound slammed open, and the cold wind rushed inside. With it came whispers, voices, not one, but many. They spoke in overlapping tones, some angry, some mournful, some accusing. "Lies, Pride. Silence. Income covered his ears, but the voices did not stop. They came from inside his head now. Mama Oji raised her staff and struck the ground 3 times. The sound echoed like thunder, and the voices paused. "Listen to me," she said, her voice suddenly strong. "I once destroyed a marriage. I let jealousy and pride guide my tongue. I spread lies that tore 2 people apart. And because of that, a curse was born." Mama Oji's eyes were distant now, lost in memory. "I was once young, beautiful," they said. "But beauty without wisdom is a weapon that wounds its owner." She paused, breathing heavily. "My sister was married to a man I loved. I could not accept it, so I whispered lies. I planted doubt. I destroyed their trust piece by piece until they could no longer stand to look at each other." Adana's hand went to her mouth. "Mama." "They separated," Mama Oji continued. "And my sister, heartbroken and alone, died giving birth to a child she carried in shame. The man I loved, he went mad with grief. He walked into the forest one night and never returned." Income stared at her. "Why are you telling us this?" Mama Oji's voice cracked. "Because the woman I destroyed was your great aunt, Income, and the man was Adana's grandfather." Silence. The words hung in the air like smoke. "You?" Adana's voice was barely a whisper. "You destroyed our families?" Mama Oji nodded slowly. "Your bloodlines were once bound by love. I tore them apart. And now when you found each other again, when your marriage brought the families back together, the curse awakened. It saw history repeating, and it will not let you escape unless the truth is spoken." Income stepped back, his mind racing. "So everything that has happened to us, the lies, the silence, the fear, it is because of you?" "Not because of me," Mama Oji said quietly. "Because of the curse I created. I tried to stop it. I tried to guide you, but the spirits do not listen to the guilty. They only listen to the innocent." Adana's anger flared again. "You could have told us. You could have warned us from the beginning." "Would you have believed me? Would you have listened to an old woman speaking of curses and spirits? Or would you have called me mad?" Adana had no answer. Mama Oji continued. "I thought if I could make you see each other's pain, if I could force the truth to surface, you would break the cycle, but I was wrong. The curse is stronger than I thought. It does not want resolution. It wants repetition." The wind rose again, fiercer this time. The voices returned, louder, angrier. "The curse demands justice. It demands that I pay the price I have avoided for decades." "What price?" Income asked. Before she could answer, the temperature dropped, and in the doorway a figure appeared. The figure was translucent like smoke given shape. It was a woman, draped in old-fashioned cloth, her face both beautiful and sorrowful. Her eyes glowed faintly, and when she spoke, her voice echoed as though coming from a great distance. "Mama Oji, sister." Mama Oji's knees buckled. "Adaku." The spirit stepped forward, her gaze sweeping over Income in the Dana. "They carry our blood. They carry our story. And you, sister, you have tried to bury what you did to me." "I tried to make it right," Mama Oji whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I have spent my life trying to make it right. By spreading more lies? By testing this couple the way you tested me?" Mama Oji shook her head.
I only wanted to see if they were strong enough to survive what we could not. And instead, you have cursed them, the spirit said coldly. What do you want from us? Adana found her voice. The spirit turned to her. I do not want anything from you, child. I want justice from her. She pointed at Mama Oji. The curse cannot break until she confesses publicly, until the village knows what she did, until shame replaces pride. Mama Oji's face went pale.
And Kem's heart pounded. He looked at the spirit, then at Mama Oji. If she confesses, the curse ends? We can be free? The spirit nodded slowly. If truth is spoken, the cycle breaks. But the truth must be spoken the way the lie was spread, publicly, before witnesses, with no pride left to hide behind. Mama Oji's hands trembled. I cannot, she whispered. I am too old. The shame, it will destroy me. You destroyed me, the spirit said quietly, and you destroyed the man I loved, and now you risk destroying them. She gestured toward Nkem and Adana. When does it end, sister? When do you finally pay for what you took from me? Mama Oji fell to her knees, weeping. I am sorry. I have always been sorry. Sorry is not enough, the spirit said. Truth is the only currency that matters now. Nkem knelt beside Mama Oji. Despite everything, despite the pain she had caused, he saw a broken old woman carrying a weight no one should carry alone. Mama, he said gently, if you do this, we can all be free. You, us, your sister, everyone. Mama Oji looked up at him, her eyes filled with tears and fear. Outside, the storm grew louder. Adana knelt on the other side of Mama Oji. Her anger had not fully left, but something else was rising within her. Understanding, compassion. She too had carried secrets. She too had let pride seal her lips. Mama, Adana said softly, I know what it feels like to be afraid of the truth. I have been afraid for months. Afraid to ask my husband what was wrong. Afraid to admit I was hurt. Afraid to be vulnerable. Mama Oji looked at her, tears streaming. But silence, it does not protect us. It only traps us. And if we do not break free now, we will all be trapped forever. The spirit watched silently, her glowing eyes fixed on Mama Oji. Nkan spoke next. I was too proud to tell my wife I was failing. I thought admitting weakness would make me less of a man, but all it did was push us apart. He took Adana's hand, and she squeezed it tightly. We are ready to face our truth. Are you, Mama? Mama Oji closed her eyes, the weight of decades pressed down on her shoulders. But slowly, painfully, she nodded. I will do it, she whispered. I will confess. The spirit's expression softened. Then come, the village must hear. The storm outside was no longer just wind and rain. It was something alive. The villagers of Oguma awoke to the sound of thunder that did not stop, to winds that tore at their roofs and rattled their doors. One by one, they emerged from their homes, drawn by something they could not explain. They gathered in the center of the village, near the ancient Iroko tree where meetings and judgments had been held for generations. The wind pushed them there, hurting them like invisible hands. Mama Oji, supported by Nkim and Adana, walked slowly toward the crowd. The spirit of her sister followed behind, visible only to those willing to see. Some villagers gasped, others whispered prayers. The village elder, an old man named Ichie Obi, stepped forward. Mama Oji, what is the meaning of this? Why have the spirits disturbed our peace? Mama Oji's voice was weak at first, but she forced it louder.
I have something to confess, something I should have confessed long ago. The crowd murmured, confused and curious. Mama Oji took a deep breath. Decades ago, I destroyed my sister's marriage. I spread lies about her husband because I was jealous, because I wanted him for myself. Gasps rippled through the crowd. And because of my lies, my sister died. Her husband went mad, and 2 families were torn apart. The villagers stood frozen, shocked by the confession. Mama Oji, the quiet widow they had known for years, the woman they respected, had carried such a dark secret. But that is not all, Mama Oji said, her voice trembling. When Nkem and Adana married, when their union brought the 2 families back together, I saw it as a chance to right my wrong. But I was foolish. I tested them. I spread lies again, thinking I could force them to be stronger than my sister and her husband were. Adana's grip on Nkem's hand tightened. I was wrong, Mama Oji said, tears streaming down her face. I became the very curse I was trying to break, and now I stand before you, not as a wise elder, but as a woman who has sinned and must finally face the consequences. The spirit of Adaku stepped forward, visible now to everyone. The villagers gasped and stepped back. She speaks the truth, and because she has spoken it, the curse is weakened, but it is not yet broken. Ichie Obi asked, "What more must be done?" The spirit turned to Mama Oji. You must accept the price. The voice you use to destroy must be taken. Mama Oji closed her eyes and nodded. The spirit raised her hand, and the wind surged. It circled Mama Oji, lifting her hair, tugging at her clothes. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Her voice was gone. The villagers watched in stunned silence as Mama Oji fell to her knees, clutching her throat. She tried to speak, but only silence emerged. The spirit knelt beside her. The voice that spread lies will never speak again, but your heart, sister, can still love, and your hands can still serve. Live the rest of your days in silence, and perhaps in that silence, you will finally find peace. Mama Oji wept soundlessly. The spirit turned to Nkem and Adana. You are free now. The curse is broken. But remember this, pride silences the heart, and silence breeds curses. Speak truth to each other always. Do not let fear seal your lips. Nkem and Anna nodded, tears in their eyes. The spirit smiled faintly. You carry the blood of 2 families torn apart. Now, you will be the ones to bind them back together. With that, the spirit began to fade. The wind calmed, and the storm ceased, and the village stood in the quiet aftermath, forever changed.
The villagers slowly dispersed, whispering among themselves, trying to make sense of what they had witnessed. Mama Oji remained on her knees, her body shaking with silent sobs. Nkem and Adana helped her to her feet. Despite everything, despite the pain she had caused, they could not abandon her. She had suffered too. She had paid her price. They led her back to her house across the road and sat with her until dawn. No words were spoken, none were needed. The silence between them now was not the silence of pride or fear. It was the silence of understanding. As the first light of morning touched the sky, Nkem and Adana stood to leave. Mama Oji reached out and touched their hands. Her eyes said what her voice could not. Thank you. I am sorry. Be free. They nodded and left her there, returning to their own compound. Inside, the house felt different, lighter, as though a heavy shadow had been lifted. The air no longer carried the weight of unspoken words, The walls no longer echoed with resentment. Inkem looked at Adana. We almost lost everything. She nodded, because we were too afraid to speak. He took her hands. I will never hide from you again. She squeezed his hands. And I will never let lies take root in my heart again. But the story was not yet complete. As they stood together, a soft knock came at the door. Inkem opened it to find a young woman standing there, her face uncertain, her eyes red from crying. I am sorry to disturb you, she said quietly. My name is Inkeka. I am Mama Oji's daughter. Inkem and Adana stared at her in shock. Daughter, Adana whispered. Mama Oji never spoke of a child. Inkeka nodded, tears streaming down her face. She kept me hidden. I am the child she had with the man she stole from her sister, the man who went mad. I grew up in shame, raised by distant relatives who never let me forget what my mother had done. Adana's heart broke for her. I was the one, Inkeka continued, her voice cracking, who whispered the lies about your husband. My mother asked me to. She said she was testing you. She said it was the only way to save you. But I see now. I see that we only repeated the curse. She fell to her knees. Please forgive us. Forgive us. Inkem knelt and lifted her gently. We forgive you. The curse is broken. We are all free now. Inkeka wept in their arms, and they held her. Before dawn fully broke, Inkem and Adana stood in their courtyard hand in hand and spoke vows they had once spoken on their wedding day. But this time, the words carried a different weight. They were not just promises. They were truths hard-won through pain and silence and the grace of breaking free. Across the road, Mama Oji watched from her window. She could not speak, but her tears spoke for her. Tears of regret, tears of relief, tears of hope that perhaps finally her sister could rest. The village elder's voice echoed in the morning air, speaking to those who had gathered. Let this be a lesson to all of Agwama. Pride speaks, but love listens. Silence hides, but truth heals. And the heart that refuses to confess its wrongs will always repeat its sorrows. The sun rose fully, painting the sky in gold and orange, and as the light touched the compound, the shadows that had lingered for so long finally disappeared. Inkem turned to Adana. We will never let this happen again. She smiled. Never. And so the curse that had haunted two families for generations was broken, not by magic, not by spirits, but by the courage to speak truth, to forgive, and to choose love over pride. Before you judge, before you assume, before you walk away, ask the heart what it has not said. Please help us by subscribing and share this story.